Hello everyone, it's Dawn and welcome back to my channel. Hope you've had a good weekend and you're ready to start another week of crafting. Well, today we're going to be starting a series of 4 different videos, not all in one go, one on separate days, of how we can use different ways that we can use our nesting dies. Now, we've all used them for mats and layering and things like that, but I'm going to show you 4 different ways that you can use them to extend the range of what you can do with these wonderful basic tools that we've all got in our crafting stash, or most of us anyway. Most of us have got hundreds probably of nesting dies. So we're going to start off with something a little different. So for this one, we're going to be making a 6x4 card. Now you can adapt this for any size you want. If you'd like me to show you how to do it for a different size, please let me know in the comments which size of card you'd like me to show you, and I'd be happy to do it for you. But I'm sure most of you can probably do it yourself. But if you want me to give you a bit of guidance on different size cards for this technique, do let me know, and as I say, I'll be happy to help you. So as I say, this one is going to be a 6x4. And what we're going to do, this is the back. So I've cut mine down to a 6x4, just folded it in half and cut it down to a 6x4. Of course, you can use a ready-made if you wish. Now on the front, just to make the video go a little bit quicker, I've made a little bit of a start. So you will need 2 strips. Now this is another wonderful project if you want to raid your scraps, because this is a good one for using up scraps, maybe some of your larger scraps. You will need a piece of plain colour. You don't have to use this colour way, you can use any colour you like. You'll need 1 plain paper or card and 1 pattern. Now I'll give you a tip. Choose your pattern paper first, because otherwise you'll spend hours. If you do it this way, you'll pick out your plain colour and then you could be hours just going through all your pattern papers. So pick out your pattern paper first and then just pick a plain colour to coordinate with it. Now I've done this isn't really directional. I know it looks like it's upside down, but it doesn't. This one, it's such a busy pattern, it doesn't really matter. And by the time we finish with it, you're not going to see much. You're not going to see much of the pattern anyway. So you'll need 2 pieces of paper or card, 1 plain coloured and 1 patterned. And for this size, if you're going to do a 6x4, you will need them 2 by 6 inches. And I will write or add all of these measurements in the description below. Just click on the word more underneath the video and it'll all come up for you, so don't worry. And then I did say we were going to use our nesting dies, and indeed we are. For this one, I'm using a circular die. Now you don't have to use circular, you can do exactly the same with this in any shape you like, but I'm using a circular. And the measurement is a 1.5 inch diameter, or 1.5 inch straight across if you're using a different size or a different shape. But as I say, use what you've got, you don't have to use a circle. And what we're going to do, we're going to take each one. You'll need to cut 3 of these. You will have little bits left over, but it's one of those things, unless you make a bigger one and then you can add 4. But let's not complicate things. You'll need 3, for this size card, you will need 3 1.5 inch diameter circles. And what you do, to make it easier, fold it in half. This is the easiest way I found of doing it. Fold it in half until the edges match, like that. And just give it a crease. And then unfold it again. And then all we're simply going to do is use a pair of scissors. I would suggest taking a long pair of scissors and putting the blades over the fold, and then just give yourself a single snip. And that will give you a straight edge. Now, let me show you that once more. So a 1.5 inch, don't worry about that, we're not actually using this one, this is just a demonstration piece. Fold it in half so that the edges meet each other. Give it a nice crease. This will just give you a crease to cut along. Open it out, take a long pair of scissors, rest your crease line on the scissors, on the blade, and then just cut straight across, and you will have a beautiful straight edge. Of course you can use your trimmer if you want to, but that's how I always do it. It always works for me. I don't know why, but whenever I try to use a trimmer, I never get it right. But that's probably just me. So I've always found it easier to cut by hand. Maybe that's because I'm used to doing it that way. So when you've done that with 3 of your circles, you will have you only actually need to take half of each one. So you need to take 3 halves of your plain and 3 halves of your pattern. So that's what you need to do. And now I'm going to show you how we put this together. So you can do this however you like, really, but I'm going to use, you can use your PVA glue. I've actually just run out of my PVA. I have got some across the other side of the studio, but I didn't realise that until I was in the middle of filming. So for this project, I'm going to use my glue stick. You can use any glue stick. If you do use a glue stick, just make sure you use a strong one. So we're just going to rub some glue over the back like that. Now you'll know if it's a good one because when you apply it, you'll see that thick, creamy element. If it's a not such a good quality, you might not see it, but testing the quality of your glue stick, apply a layer, and if it's got a thick application like that, that's a good glue stick. So now the trick here is make sure you don't do what I did the first time I filmed it and I had to start again. Make sure you don't put it on the same side. So don't put plane to plane, because otherwise if you do that, you're not going to see anything. I did that the first time and I had to start again. Most embarrassing. So we're going to start almost from the top. Just lay the edge like that. Oh, it's suddenly gone dark. And press it down. So lay the edge of your circle to the edge of your plane. So if you start with the plane, lay the edge of your half circle or semicircle to the edge of your plain mat and just press it down. Then we're going to do the same with a coloured or pattern paper or pattern card, pattern paper, card, let's call it paper. So again, we're going to pop some glue on. And so just make sure you keep it on the opposite side. So the pattern paper goes on the plain mat. So like that, push it down so that the edge of your semicircle goes to the edge of your mat, the central edge of your mat, that is. And then you will have a piece like that. So we're going to carry on building this up. We've only got 2 more pieces to go, so we're going to do this all together because this might be something you've not done before or seen before. You might have done, of course, that's fine. Oops, that's all right. It hasn't gone anywhere. So the trick of this is to make sure you watch what you're doing. Now, do you know what? For the purposes of this, I am going to have to actually push that up or it's not going to fit all on. So all the time the glue is wet, you've got time to play with it, which is good. So that's fine. So we will just make sure that's right up to there. Pop that on there like that. And we've got one more. It may overlap slightly, but that's fine. So we'll just pop our glue on, make sure it gets to those edges. So we may have one that overlaps slightly, but that's not too much of a problem. In fact, you could do that if you wanted to. You could overlap them. So all the time your glue is still wet, you can rearrange these however you like. You could actually do that if you wanted to and offset them. In fact, let's do that. I hadn't planned to do this, but if that glue hasn't dried, it shouldn't have done yet. Let's see if we can get away with that. Let's see if we can actually offset them. So this is unintentionally giving you 2 different ways of putting these together. You can either put them straight, or you can do what I've done in a drastic or a sudden change of mind and offset them. So let's do that. We're going to offset ours. So that's a complete change of plan, an unplanned change of plan, but that's all right. And so I'm jolly glad I kept my other one. So that will go on there. That's fine. Yes, let's do that. Oh, I rather like that. You know, I'm glad that didn't go quite according to plan because I prefer that. So we'll just put one more on like that. So do keep all of your pieces just in case you do what I did and change your mind. So right, I'm just taking some of the excess glue off because that was a bit globby. So just pop that down there. And this is a really strong glue, so I've got glue all over my fingers, but never mind, we'll soon remove it. So there we go, there is our card. So as you can see, you can either put them straight with each other, or you can offset them as we've done. And do you know what? I rather like that offset pattern. I prefer that. So I'm glad that didn't go according to plan. That was a mistake. So I'm glad I made that mistake, because it gave the opportunity to explore different options. So the only thing to do now is put our sentiment on. Now I've just found a sentiment in my stash which matches the colour scheme, and it says "with love." Now the only decision you need to make now is where you're going to put it. And do you know what? I think I'm going to fill that gap at the bottom, and I'm going to put it along there. So I'm just going to, do you know what? I won't do that. I'll clean my table down in a moment. I'm just going to spread some glue across there. You can use your PVA glue. I'm just using this because it's on my desk and I need to go and get some more PVA glue. And there we go, just pop it into place. And all the time your glue is wet, you've got time to move it. You've got time to move your elements into place. I just want to cover that bit there. There, and there is our first card made with our nesting dies. And as you can see, we've got a little bit left over, but that's fine. I'm going to keep the bit that I've got left over. I've actually got 4 pieces left over, but I'm going to keep those and I'll probably use them another time. I'm not quite sure what yet. But you could even go further, and you could cut these further down. You could cut some smaller ones and layer them in a type of rainbow if you like. But I'm going to leave that like that for now and just play with that a bit and smooth it out. So there you go. You can play with that to your heart's content. But there we go. There is just one way of using our nesting dies to create a geometric pattern, if you like. And so when you come back next time, I will be doing another project with our nesting dies, a different shape and a different style of card. So do come back and see what I get up to next time. In the meantime, do have fun with these, and if you do make one of these, do pop over to our Crafty Capers with Dawn Facebook group, that is. If you're already a member, please do add a photograph in. If you're not a member, please do apply to join. And we'd love to see what you do and what you come up with and what shapes you come up with. We don't have to use circles, of course. You can use any die you've got, any shape you've got. So have a go and see what you can make with your lovely nesting dies. And when I come back next time, I will show you a different way of using our nesting dies. In the meantime, have fun with this one, everybody. Take care, have fun, and as always, happy crafting. Bye-bye for now.